Hey everyone, Monet here. So, I decided to grab some blank bookmarks and doodle some art ideas at my desk during my spare moments throughout the day. It was sort of an impulse buy, but overall, a good buy. So, what I do is I doodle some ideas on there, just the things I'm thinking throughout the day that I don't have time to really pull out an entire sketchbook and start drawing. Just the small ideas, and later I put it in my what I call my idea bucket. And it's just a little bucket with a bunch of these blank bookmarks that I've decorated and drawn on, just rough sketches. But it lets me utilize those random moments throughout the day to get the idea on paper. So I like it because it gets all the thinking stuff out of the way, per se, so I can get those inspirational ideas down. And then later I pick one, find one that looks the best, and take a picture of it with my iPad, phone, whatever I happen to have on me. That will easily take the picture, and I just get it on Procreate and use it kind of as a starting point to start really refining it and putting in all that work to make a piece of art. Because I feel like the time it takes to come up with an idea, make it look nice on paper, does take up a lot of time. So if I get an idea throughout the day, the number one thing I want to do is get it on paper before I forget. And I know sometimes, I don't know if anybody else has this issue, but I do. I sometimes have difficulty when I have such a good idea and I'm picturing exactly what I like and what I want to see, what type of art project I want to accomplish. Putting it on paper sometimes is so much more harder because I'm a perfectionist. So I put it down on paper and I start getting into it and I realize this isn't exactly what I was picturing. And so sometimes I'll scrap it and redo it, and sometimes I just stop halfway through it, like get the initial sketch down, and I just don't push it. I don't go through and complete it. And sometimes I actually do the work. Sometimes I push through that hump, and sometimes it turns out really amazing. But I don't know if anybody else struggles with that, but I know I do. Might be just a me thing, or maybe an everyday artist thing. But what I just try to do is, if I can, get through it and see what I get. And there's no harm in stopping if you can feel that, hey, this isn't the avenue I was wanting to go down with this piece, and I'd rather start on something else. Or sometimes I've started with a piece of art that I imagined one way, and as I was drawing it, I changed it, and it actually ended up looking better than what I imagined it to be. So it's really up to you on what makes you comfortable, but definitely putting in that effort and work does help you push past that artist inspiration block, I guess some artists feel. I think that's an every artist thing, because sometimes you'll feel that block. And what I do is I push past it and try to fuel that inspiration by looking at, nature pictures or animal pictures, or, even taking a nice walk, looking at the scenery, or looking at other people's art. It sometimes can spark inspiration. I've looked at pieces where I'm like, I just love the color scheme here. I want to make something with that same color scheme. And it'll be something completely different, but it will share those same color scheme. Like, I would see a piece of art with a lot of dark purples and bright pinks and neon blues. And it was just like a night scene, and I loved it. And so I was just like, wow, I could use that. I could make a creature or, a woman fairy with those color schemes, and it would look amazing. So inspiration can be anywhere. And I think if you wait for it to come to you, you're not going to get as far as if you go looking for it. So I would definitely advise, if you have, writer's block, art block, whatever creativity you come up with and you have a block, I would say take the time to look for that inspiration. Find things that just are beautiful. Just look at pictures, go outside. There's all kinds of ways to spark that inspiration. Don't wait for it to come to you, because you can get some really amazing pictures out of it. Anyways, back to what I was initially going over. These bookmarks, they were blank. I saw them and I thought, oh, you know what? This would be kind of cool to just kind of doodle on. And they're just the perfect size, so they sit right underneath, or not under, below my keyboard, at the lower part of my desk. So that throughout the day, while I'm doing other things, I can just in between doodle on it. And not all of them turn out to be, full art pieces. And some of them actually turn out to be really cool pieces, like this one. And I'll just get it down there, put it in that bucket, and wait for it, save it for when I want to really go all out and turn it into something amazing. It's always good to get that idea on paper, because either way, if you get it on paper and you realize, it didn't turn out what I wanted it to be, or it's now that I put it on paper, I don't really like it. It's good. It's good for you. It helps you grow as an artist. Plus, I don't know if it's just getting older, or maybe because, I'm adulting. I'm an adult now, so I forget things, the smaller things that aren't normal tasks throughout my day. So if I have a little bit of inspiration and I don't put it on a piece of paper, that idea nugget hops away, never comes back. Or it does come back at a really random time. When I can't write it down, kind of like a Murphy's Law thing. You forget it when you need it and remember it when you can't write it. And so I have to write it down when I've got it. And so sometimes I always have a notebook with me. Even if it's a small one, it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be even a lined notebook. Hey, as long as you get the idea on paper, that's the goal. And with these little bookmarks at my desk, it just is perfect. I think they're 2x6. I personally prefer 2x8 when it comes to my bookmark needs, what I would personally want in my books, probably because a lot of the books I have are really large. Example, I've been trying to get through the Dark Tower series. on book 5, and I don't know if you've ever seen those books. Most of them are super thick. So I like a long bookmark to be able to place in there to easily find my place where I was last. But either way, these, get the job done, which is, ultimately just to put my ideas on paper. And later I turn it into a 2x8 bookmark, which is, perfect. It's easy to do for me in like Procreate. I don't know. Any of you use Photoshop, you can do it there too. And just change the size. But it makes it simple for me to be able to get my ideas down and work on them later. So that's why I actually ultimately bought them. It was an impulse buy, like I said earlier, but a good buy. I got something that ended up being very handy, and I've actually put in a lot of things in my little idea book, which you'll probably eventually see all of them sometime in the future. But either way, I like getting it down there so I can make sure to remember them. Because I don't know about everybody else, but being an adult, it's like I forget all these little things. And I always kick myself if I don't write it down, because it's like, man, I know I had a good idea, but I forgot it. Anyway, sometimes, these thoughts, do come back. But it doesn't happen often for me, so. Now, the thoughts I do enjoy, like the memories or the little thought nuggets that come to mind at random, are the ones I enjoy are the ones that are those fond memories that usually come to you after you've been somewhere you've been to before, or you smell something that you've smelt before, or even just tasting something. I just like that nostalgic memory that comes to you and gives you that wonderful, memory from whatever it is. Either way, for me, it was a Dr. Pepper does that to me, and which I don't drink it often, but when I do, I'm like, I'll think of that moment because my grandpa loved it. And so when we'd go out to his house in the summer, he would drink Dr. Pepper he'd have summer sausage, cheese, and Ritz crackers out on the porch. And we would just sit there and relax and enjoy the summer air and the shade. And that's where Dr. Pepper brings me. But yeah, I love those little memories because I feel like it's like little presents your mind, keeps for you later on to unwrap with that little key. So I don't know if anybody else has those little memories, those nostalgic memories, that bring you back to time with a loved one, or that one time at school with your best friend eating gummy worms and drinking soda that's mixed with all the sodas all together into one thing that you won't drink today, but it was great when you were younger. Those kind of memories. Let me know in the comments everybody's stories. I'd like to see those. So, on a different note though, sometimes I think, what would be an amazing memory to create? If I could create a memory, kind of like a director making a movie scene, but with an unlimited budget and availability for like any possibility you can think of. Nothing is impossible. What would I create? So I came up with the perfect happy place I could think of with my preferences and such, of course. So something I would love. And this is what I came up with. I wrote it down so I could remember all the great in-depth detail. So I'll go ahead and read it to you. I've already written it down, and I'll go ahead and read it to you, kind of like a book. I'll read all the wonderful details I've gathered for this. So, we start out with a cozy cabin in the woods, with many large pine trees that smell sharp, sweet, and refreshing. The season is mid-fall, with cool air and falling leaves. The time of day is early evening, when the sun has just set, but still illuminates the sky gently. Inside the cabin, you see the fires going, and the flames are dancing in the fireplace, casting sharp, warm shadows in the cabin that is only slightly lit by scattered candlelight. Surrounding the fireplace, there sits a large chestnut-colored leather couch and an oversized love seat to match. You're sitting on the large couch, warm under a large handmade Afghan, with your feet up, and of course this Afghan is much too large for only one person, but you don't mind. Next to you, on a small wooden side table, you have a warm cup of tea. On your lap is a well-fed cat that is sleeping soundly and comforted by the gentle touch on his fur as you pet him. You close your eyes and listen to the sound of the crickets outside, sing to the night sky and the crackling the wood makes in the fireplace. You feel the warmth the fire gives off and smell the wonderful scent of the burning wood and the wonderful candles, and it slowly lulls you to sleep. I hope I didn't put anyone to sleep with that pleasant scene. So, that was my idea of the perfect memory scene I could think of. And what would be your happy place? What would you create? I'd love to know in the comments all the amazing happy places. Maybe it's, painting with Bob Ross, or it could even be something as simple as a ham sandwich on the subway, or an overly luxurious bath, or like me, a cozy night by the fire. So I'd love to see what people put. There's probably some amazing inspiration that everybody has on their perfect happy place. I feel like it's a good project to work on, because you get to really look into the things that bring you comfort, that gives you that relaxation. And you never know, you might create it. I definitely know I want to. Someday I shall find a cabin, and I will set it up just like a movie set and sit there and enjoy a wonderful night. So I've already got the well-fed cat, so I'll just bring him along, and we'll enjoy nice cocoa and wonderful peace and quiet in the woods. So it's always good to kind of remember to relax and just kind of slow down. Smell the roses in life, because you can only live today once, so you might as well live it wonderfully. Live it well. So make sure to just have just a little bit out of the day to relax. Get your work out of the way and get that done, and then just have some time to yourself. So, anyways, something to talk about. Random squirrel thought. I was thinking, you know what? I don't know if anybody else has this issue, but I know I sure do. I have such an unhealthy relationship with office supplies. No matter what store I go to, if they have any type of office supplies, art supplies, coloring supplies, I'm there. I will find it and I will be in that aisle. And recently, I went to my regular game store, games and comics and such, and I initially went to go look at the D&D modules and all the campaign modules that they have. And I ended up finding one. It took a little while, but of course I had to stop in all the little, office supply section, I guess is what they have. They have all the, random coloring supplies, pencils and pens and cool notebooks, of course, which I did get one of those as well. But I found a fountain pen. Here it is. It's a Ooly, Ooly. It's not an expensive pen, and I bet every pen enthusiast out there is like, really? But hey, I enjoy it. It writes smoothly. I can't complain. And so, of course, I bought it. Comes with refills. And I got the black one because overall I like black pen ink the most. I like how dark, contrasted it is. And really, I was just thinking, hey, this is great to use for, just sketching or writing. Who knows? Either way, I got it. I don't regret it. It's nice. And so I love it. I actually also ended up getting Dragon Shield card sleeves. I do like that brand of card sleeves. They're always really nice. And here they are. Yeah. Dragon Shield 100 brushed art sleeves. And this one is called, they named it Shy. Shye. It's got a little baby dragon on it. Little black baby dragon. And I thought, it was the cutest thing. And I already have card sleeves, but I kind of got them out of, I need card sleeves, and this is the best thing I can find at the moment. But these are going to be replacing those, and they're going to look amazing on my Magic cards. So I got that. And I also got that campaign book I was talking about. And I don't know if I'd call it campaign book per se. It's equipment and armor and, potions and such. And it's a 5e, so 5th edition. So it has a lot of different types of armor and weapons and everything. It had everything I needed. And I'm so used to getting the D&D, trademark brand when it comes to the books I get, like, the Monsters Guide and such. But this one is actually Arcanus, the World of Shattered Empires. It says forged in magic reforged. So, hey, it works out great and it looks amazing, and there's some great art in it here and there. So, definitely worked for my needs. So, I'm not complaining. The only thing I could find for like D&D brand, I guess, was like the cards, the equipment cards that they have. They're like little flashcards with them, which the art is great and it has great description, which I was looking for. But I kind of wanted it in book form, because I felt like that was easier for me to handle and it stays all in one spot. So it worked for my needs. Check it out if that's something that floats your boat, what you're looking for. I'm not, they haven't paid me to say that. I just liked it. So I found a lot of cool items in there and description. It's really descriptive. It has so much detail in the weapons, and each page, it doesn't give a picture for each one, which is fine, but it gives you at least one picture per page that demonstrates what type of weapons you're looking at. And that's very convenient for me, because then I can kind of get the idea of what the weapon is. And it's a nice big book, so I definitely got a lot out of it. And I haven't read through it all, but I've been flipping through it, and it's perfect. But either way, I think I came out of there with everything I wanted. And I actually got a puzzle, and it's it has a whole group, like a party of players, like the archer and the warrior and everything. It's like, and they're all in this haunted looking forest on their way to fight whatever evil. But I'm gonna put that together. I think it's 1,000 pieces. Yeah, it's 1,000 pieces. So I'll try and film that at some time so you guys can see the awesome puzzle that I put together. And I'm eventually gonna, I guess, once I get it built, I'm gonna put it on one of those foam boards and put it on the wall. So that will look awesome. Anyways, I think I'm gonna go and get some video game time in. I told myself I could not play until I got this done. Let's do that audio first. I adulted, did my responsibilities first, and now I shall reward myself with long hours of video games. So if you like my art, check out my website, monetfineart.com. You can take a peek at some of the other art pieces I've made that I haven't recorded. And of course, I'm going to leave links below for all of the other places I am. And make sure to, don't forget to chillax. Take some time for yourself every so often. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.